Thank you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. It helps our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know, as we're talking college football on this channel year round. Appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button in Starkville. The line in this one, Florida has actually crept up to a 6.5-point favorite. The over-under in this one, 57.5. Listen, I'm going to be quick. Florida fans, Mississippi State fans, if you listen to this show, I know we got a few Gators fans at least that listen to this show. If you want to bet your hard-earned money on this game, then you should go spend your hard-earned money however your heart desires, okay? I am not here to tell you what to do. I am here to tell you it seems insane to me to even consider placing any hard-earned money on this game, okay? First off, the Florida situation, it's toxic, okay? There's no doubt about it. All anybody's talking about is the future of the program, who's going to be the next head coach. Steve Spurrier's out there doing interviews. Urban Meyer is out there declining interest in the job. They're talking about who's going to be the next AD, who's going to be the next head coach. Now, on the one hand, I do think for a team that has struggled at home, it is worth noting, I think getting away from home probably is not the worst thing for this team. But I also think that, listen, what have we seen from Florida that makes us believe that they can go on the road in the SEC and take care of business against anybody? It's interesting. If you missed this on Thursday morning and Friday, we ran the interview on YouTube on Wednesday night, but Thursday morning it's on the podcast. We had Tim Tebow on the pod, okay? Tim's great. He's been on the show 3 times in the last 3 years. He kind of comes on behalf of kind of a marketing promotional thing, whatever. But I had to ask him about Florida. And he just kind of bluntly laid out like, hey, dude, listen, teams struggle, teams win, teams lose. But it'd be one thing if we were losing just because the other team was better and we were competing and we were fighting and we were this and we were that. He goes, we're getting punked. And I'm paraphrasing here, but we're getting punked. We're getting embarrassed. He's like, that's not Florida football. And so when Tim Tebow, quite literally probably the nicest human in the world, is like, dude, I'm over it, you know things are bad in Gainesville. The opposite, if things are bad in Gainesville, I don't know what the heck they are at Mississippi State. Listen, 3rd head coach in 3 years. We know the deal. Obviously an awful, awful situation two winters ago with Mike Leach. The guy last year, I'm blanking on his name, Zach Arnett, was certainly not the answer. You bring in Jeff Lebby, you hope things get solved, but this is going to be a rebuild of all rebuilds, okay? Remember, this was a situation where last year, you think about this team, they went from the air raid to kind of a situation where Arnett wanted to kind of have this, defense and run game offense. That clearly didn't work. The defense wasn't good enough. Poor Will Rogers was just, I just feel so bad for how his career ended after 3 really productive seasons as the starting quarterback, at Mississippi State. But I bring it up because then you got 2 coaching changes in 2 off seasons. One obviously unfortunate, but you bring in Jeff Lebby. I believe in Jeff Lebby, but he just didn't inherit much. And I think that's kind of one of the things that stood out last week. And I think everybody knows, but for those who don't, 41-17 loss for Mississippi State at home to Toledo is that you've had 3 different head coaches, 3 different systems, trying to figure it out. And, listen, guys come, guys go, but you can't just throw together a roster to play the way that you want to play in this portal era. It takes time. Now, I'm not excusing a guy like Billy Napier, who's in his 3rd year, but first year for Jeff Lebby, Blake Shapen is not the guy that you want running this high-powered offense or what should be a high-powered offense under your watch. Beyond that, the run game simply isn't good enough. 66 yards on 27 carries last week for Mississippi State against Toledo. And so when I look at this game, listen, I could break it down. I could tell you about this, about that, about the other thing. This just feels like a total stay away to me. If you held a gun to my head and I was in Vegas and you made me walk to a sports book and bet it, first of all, I think there's security in these casinos, so I don't know that would be an issue. I probably would take Florida. Listen, Florida, I don't know. I don't want to say they're not as bad as they've looked because they are as bad as they've looked, but I just believe at some point Maybe it's just you give the job to Lagway. I don't know. But I just know I think getting away from home probably to their advantage. I'll take Florida. Certainly a stay away as far as an actual bet. I would not bet this. I would not bet $1 on this. I wouldn't bet $100 of your money on it. Total stay away. I'll tell you this, whoever loses this game, probably serious consideration for the worst team in the SEC. And I'll take it a step further. If Billy Napier loses this game, I would assume that he's fired come Monday because Florida is going into a bye. Florida is in a situation where coming out of the bye, they have a good UCF team, and then they get into that back half of the schedule, which is brutal with at Tennessee, at Texas, Georgia on a neutral, Ole Miss at home, LSU at home, Kentucky at home. There's no guarantees on the back end of the schedule. Maybe Florida State. Got to win this game, Billy Napier, if you want to keep your job. I don't even know if he does at this point, but you got to win this game if you are Billy Napier.